today, having solar installed doesn't make any sense without storage. The ROI is too far out there. That return on your investment doesn't make sense unless you're able to store it. That's the game changer.
Let's say you're cooking and you take it off the induction, you can literally slap your hand on the induction part.
I didn't know how sensitive they were for temperature. I didn't know about that extra pans. I know we install a lot of them for people.
It makes a sound at the beginning. Let's say if you just set the pot on there without like water or anything or any type of weight in it, if you hold the pan, you can actually feel the pan vibrating, because what it's doing, it's moving the electrons in the inside. We might have to like cut one in half to see what's in the inside.
That's really cool. So if anybody out there has some experience with that, some of those guys I heard do some pretty cool experiences. And that's the way to donate it. I'd love to do it. A bandsaw, cut one in half and kind of see what's in there.
Yeah, to see if it still works. Huh?
A lot of people are putting those in. I know we install a lot of service for those. Personally, I've never taken the time to investigate in the appliance itself. It's not something that we provide for people. We just provide the needs for the appliance. Now you have me intrigued.
You know, switching to induction cooking, I think is kind of like the wave of the future as far as electric wise. Anytime people ask me, hey, you know what, I'm going to switch from gas to induction cooking, I'm like, are you the main cook of the house? Because I want to talk to the main cook of the house. I always push them, go, hey, you're going to go electric, go induction, because you will not burn anything. Right? And a lot of times they actually, there's cookbooks and everything for induction cooking, whatever, if you're grilling a steak or fish or whatever, what temperature you need to set it to and all that stuff. And you can get it to exact temperature. There is no guesswork. So in normal electric and gas, there is a little bit of guesswork, right? Because medium, high, low, whatever. You learn that over cooking for a long time. Once you switch to induction, here's the cool part is you look it up. We're like, all right, I'm grilling this, I'm cooking this. I need to stay within this temperature here and I can't exceed it. Wham, bam, you're done.
Another big reason I think people are going fully electric is because the utility companies, SMUD in particular, they have some great rebates. Yeah. So if you have a gas water heater, I believe it was $3,000 or $3,500. Check this out. Let's make sure we know the right numbers. If you would upgrade to an electric heat water heater. I mean, that pays a big portion of that upgrade. And not only that, those water heaters are fantastic. They're very efficient. They're very efficient to run. That's a big one. I think in your induction cooktop, I believe there's a rebate for that to go from gas to electric. So there's a lot of great rebates out there from your electrical company, whether you're PG&E or SMUD. I'm not as familiar with what PG&E has to offer, just because we do more of the solar and batteries in those areas that we do run circuits workshop, like water heaters and cooktops. But I know SMUD has some fantastic rebates out there. So for the listeners out there that are actually considering any of those, it's really quick and easy. Just look up SMUD rebates and they'll give you all the rebates that are available for those different pieces of equipment, from your HVAC equipment to your cooktop, your cooking equipment, your water heater equipment, solar equipment. I think they have some good rebates on solar today. In fact, SMUD has a program, I believe, where you don't even have to put solar on your house. You could pay them for a lease portion of a solar farm. Have you heard of that?
I spoke to Corey about it. Corey's our solar battery generator expert. Barely grazed the top of it. I knew enough about it to go, all right, well, we're going to bring Corey up to talk to you about it.
Yeah, it's worth the conversation, I think. But I only know about it because I received, being a SMUD or fruit contractor, we get a lot of information. They sent me a letter explaining a little bit about it, and that I actually meant to talk to our guy. But there's some information to get out there. We'll get out there for our customers, a little more information on that. Batteries are another a good rebate and tax credit on those. So that's why I think a lot of people, they're being incentivized to go full electric.
Every house is a big battery, kind of like the Matrix.
Well, I'm surprised though. Today they don't require your houses to have batteries. I don't think batteries really make a lot of sense to your utility companies, because you're able to store the power and use it. That costs the utility companies money. I don't think utility companies are big fans of us being able to store the power that we're generating through our solar systems. They have a perfect scenario going on where we harness the electricity come in from the sun. We get a discount on our electricity because we use the electricity that we're generating through our solar systems. But the leftover that we don't generate, when we don't have a storage system, it just goes back on the grid. So they buy it back for pennies on the dollar, and then they sell it back to us for a full rate. So it's a great program for utility companies. So I don't believe they're fans of the ability to store it and use it when they want to charge you the peak rates. And that's when you could say, sorry, utility company, man, I'm not going to pay this. I got my own power. I've been saving it. I'm going to use it for this time of the day. I think batteries make a lot of sense. I think today having solar installed doesn't make any sense without storage. It doesn't financially. The ROI is too far out there. That return on your investment doesn't make sense. unless you're able to store. That's the game changer. Is
On that topic right there, had a customer up in El Dorado Hills and went there just for some minor stuff, and found out she was a lobbyist. And she's a lobbyist for green energy, backup battery, solar, all that. So there are people fighting the system for us to get some of these rules and laws and things changed to where we can store energy. So, there's always two sides to it.
we can't. They can't stop us from.
No, they can't. No, they can't. Yeah.
I believe they are trying to figure out some type of ruling saying, hey, you can only store so much or a different time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. As somebody that wants continuous energy, to have it at a reasonable price and cheap and all that stuff, that's the way of the future. And that's what you want. And luckily there are people that are, fighting the system for us.
We're moving into PG&E area.
You're going to get batteries?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which one are you going with?
I don't know. That's what we do. We sell solar and batteries, so I have some choices. We got, a few manufacturers that I trust wholeheartedly. It's really to sit down with our expert actually and say, what do you recommend? But the house has existing solar and it's owner solar, so it's got a smaller solar system. I know PG&E is very expensive. So it was a concern of mine trying to think, the house is bigger. What are my utility bills going to be running electricity? So I was a little concerned, but did some calculations, and I think we can zero that out pretty easy just by a couple more panels and storing some electricity. Sure, there's an upfront investment, but I think it's the return on that once you could store it. It makes a lot of sense.
I like the fragments because you can install them without having the distance. What is it? The other batteries, you have to stay like a foot away from each battery?
No, that's really determined by the fire department that you're dealing with it. So they're the ones that determine it. The Franklins are rated for them to be, I think it's 6 inches from each other, but we did a job where we did those batteries, and the fire department required us to put 36 inches apart from each other.
But they're life fees, so they're not combustible.
Right. They're lithium ion phosphate.
Yes.
So yeah, you could shoot holes in them, throw them in a lake. It doesn't matter. Don't do it, people. So Fanta does have a demo on them showing how safe their batteries are. I think all batteries today are lithium ion.
Is there a demo somebody shooting at it?
I don't know if it's shooting at it or poking holes. We'll have to check it out. I was told, I think our guide here, Corey, he mentioned that they do have a video showing, as deep it is. And they have all of the input on them, but the fire department is still required for that area. It just depends on the district and the department you're working with, is they're going to accept it.
Because probably, I think I know that job, probably because they don't understand it, or it hasn't progressed to them yet. They still think it's a lithium ion. They still think it's something that if oxygen gets to it, that it'll just catch on fire.
We're all learning right now. The industry is evolving so quickly, and there's always different technology out there. So some of it, I'm sure, is just trying to help people, stay safe. Yeah. But that is an issue with the batteries, because sometimes we have space issues. Again, there's a product out there for everybody for the installation method or the scenario that we're
there is always an option.
Yeah.